Natasha Wood looked like she had everything. She had good looks, fame, and a great marriage. She tried to hide how angry she was at someone close to her though. Since she was 16, the hate has been building up. Natalie's mother pushed her into a hotel room with a 39-year-old married star and then told her to suck it up when he hit her. She was in charge of Natalie's whole life and even gave up her youth to become famous. You have never heard this sad story about Natalie Wood before. Natasha Wood's life did not begin on a movie set. It all began with a fortune teller. Maria Zakharenko was told two things about her young daughter Natalia in the late 1930s. Two things were certain: she would die in dark water and be famous all over the world. Maria wasn't just a mom after that. She had a goal to reach. Natalie was little when she was dragged to interviews, sets, and other places where people might see her. Maria moved her family from San Francisco to Los Angeles in 1943, when Natalie was only 4 years old. She didn't care about what her husband said. She didn't care about Natalie's background. The prophecy was the only thing that counted. She got her big break when she was only 4 years old. In Santa Rosa, a film crew saw her. Harold Patel, the director of Happy Land, gave her a small part. It was over in 15 seconds, but everything was different. For 2 years, Pitchell stayed in touch. Then in 1945, he called Maria and told her to go to Los Angeles for a screen test. Maria didn't think twice. The whole family moved. She was so beautiful to Patel that he wanted to adopt her. Natalie got her first big part in Tomorrow Is Forever when she was 7 years old. She was in it with Orson Welles and Claudette Colbert. She had to wear a toothbridge on set because she had just lost 2 baby teeth. No matter what, her performance shocked everyone. Welles said that her ability was scary, that she did it from the heart, he said. Not the play. She won the Blue Ribbon Award at the box office after the movie. It was agreed upon by Maria that she would handle all offers that came her way. The cash helped the family get out of poverty. Nick, her dad, even got a job as a studio worker. But things at home were never calm. Nick Zakharenko was a foreigner who had seen terrible things in Russia. He worked tough, but drank even more. He had scary changes in mood. He was kind when he was clean. He was mean when he was drunk though. Maria took the girls to a hotel a lot to get away. After Natalie's fame made their lives better, Nick still drank. He scared his family all the time. Natasha grew up in a scary home. She carried that confusion with her into adulthood. She played the lead role in Miracle on 34th Street when she was 8 years old, in 1947. It became well known around Christmas. She believed that Edmund Gwynn, who played Santa, was really Santa. She had 3 movies going at the same time. Natasha Wood was her new name after her mother changed it. It was told to her to act like Margaret O'Brien, another child star. At the same time, she had to listen to 3 directors at the same time. Even though she was crazy, she stayed smart. She even helped other players remember what they were going to say. A lot of people loved the show. It went on all holiday season and helped make the Macy's parade a big deal across the country. Natalie learned things in between takes. Child players in California had to go to school for 3 hours every day. She learned science and math right there on the studio lot. The people in charge were shocked at how smart she was. Even though she had a lot of shooting to do, she never slacked off. At night she studied and learned both lessons and scripts by heart. She went to Van Nuys High School while working as an actress full-time. She finished in 1956, having managed to do well in school and as a star. Most adults wouldn't be able to handle that amount of discipline. From time to time, the companies tried to change her. Warner Brothers thought she would make a great teen queen. It was star Tab Hunter who they matched her with. It did not work. No matter what, they were in charge of her clothes, hair, and public life. People set her up on fake dates with famous people just so they could be on magazine covers. Some dates were real. A lot of them were fake. At the same time, she worked non-stop to support her whole family. When Warner Brothers lent her to other companies, they made a lot of money, but she made very little. She had to please news writers just to keep her good name. She was stuck under the glitz. Nicole was 16 years old when she had enough. She was tired of being a child. She was shot for being a rebel without a cause. Her dream part was to play Judy, a troubled teen. Nicholas Ray, the director, didn't think she could play a crazy person. Natasha did something brave. She was in a car crash after drinking with Dennis Hopper all night. She went to the hospital. A doctor said she's a goddamn juvenile delinquent when Ray went to check on her. Natalie asked Ray, "Did you hear that? Do I now get the part?" She got it. She was only 18 years old when she played Debbie Edwards in The Searchers. It wasn't a big deal. She only showed up in a few scenes, but those scenes changed everything. Debbie was taken by the Comanches and raised like one of them. After many years, her uncle, played by John Wayne, finds her and she tells him, "I am Comanche." It wasn't just a line, it was a test. Could people still tell she was the same girl? Could she even return to the life she had given up? Natalie showed pain, fear, and strength in a way that no one expected, even though she only had a short amount of screen time. The movie was hailed by critics who said it was one of the best westerns ever. But behind the scenes, they began to see Natalie Wood as more than just a kid star. In the same year, she had to deal with a different problem outside of acting. Warner Brothers kept writing her parts as cute girlfriends. There wasn't any depth, drama, or anything important. They wouldn't let her grow up, even after she was nominated for an Oscar for her part in Rebel Without a Cause. She did something brave. She turned down the parts and said no. The company put her on hold for a whole year because of that. She was 20 years old. That could have been the end of her career. It didn't though. She came back. In 1960, Warner Brothers cast her with James Garner and Cash McCall. It didn't do well. Then all the nice young cannibals showed up. Another failure. She had worked very hard to gain speed, but it was beginning to fade. Natalie knew what went wrong with kid stars who didn't grow up. The movies moved on. She wasn't ready to leave though. She had worked since she was 4 years old. She was no longer just trying to get parts. To protect herself, she fought. In 1958, Marjorie Morningstar gave her a real person to write about. Marjorie was Jewish and wanted to be an actress. She went to college in New York. She was told to settle down by her folks. Dreams and hopes were at odds with each other. Natalie knew about that fight. She got in touch with Marjorie. Things like Passover and scenes in a church were filmed in real life, which wasn't common in Hollywood at the time. Natalie was honest and had heart for the part. She wasn't just there to help the male star this time. She told the story. How did it end? Marjorie was able to stay on her own in the movie, but not in the book. There will be no wedding and no giving up. The same as Natalie, who wasn't willing to settle for less. But 1961 was her toughest test. She worked with Elia Kazan on the movie Splendor in the Grass that year. Everything changed. As Dini, a girl from a small town who is falling apart because of stress from her family, boyfriend, and herself, she played the part very well. It was real that the pain felt real. Natalie had always liked Kazan. She had never gone that far before he pushed her. She screams at her mother while she's naked in the bathroom in one scene. No glitz, just honest feelings. She was no longer playing. She was living it. Some people noticed. She was up for an Oscar, a Golden Globe, and a BAFTA. All of a sudden, no one could question her anymore. She had worked hard to become a real performer. It did leave scars though. She did West Side Story the same year. She gave her all to the part of Maria. She taped all of the songs herself because she thought that was the voice people would hear. She wasn't. Behind her back, the directors had already chosen to use a different voice. They hired singer Marni Nixon to do a full dub of her. Natasha didn't find out until the last day of shooting. She worked very hard. They had made her believe their praise. It was all a lie. After the fact, Nixon said she was told to keep quiet. She couldn't even hear Natalie's first songs. It was hard to match them. It didn't matter though. The voice of Natalie was taken away. The only time we hear her in the movie is for a short time during the Somewhere repeat. Natalie was very sad. It made her feel cheated and ashamed. After that, she added things to her contracts. Don't do any more dubbing without telling her. The next year in Gypsy, we finally heard her real voice. There were some flaws, but it was hers. After that, Natalie was crazy about Robert Wagner. The first time she saw him, she was only 10 years old. He was 18 years old. Natasha Wood told her mother, "I'm going to marry him." His name was Robert Wagner. She was sure it would happen, but she didn't know when or how. She was already a star at that point. She was signed to 20th Century Fox and had just been in Miracle on 34th Street. Robert Wagner was still not well known, and he was trying to stand out in Hollywood, but Natalie already thought he was special. Years went by. Natalie worked in movies all the time. Her mother was in charge of her whole life, but Natalie never forgot the man she picked as a child. The company then set up a date for her 18th birthday on July 20th, 1956. It was meant to get more attention. She had just been in Rebel Without a Cause as the lead. Now 26 years old, Wagner needed a job boost. They thought it would look good in the press if they were together, but there was a real event. It worked. The link was made right away. After a year, on December 6, 1957, Wagner asked her to marry him. He put Natalie's champagne glass with a diamond and pearl ring inside it, and it just said, "Marry me." On December 28, 3 weeks later, they got married in Scottsdale, Arizona. 19. Everyone thought it was the perfect love story for Hollywood, but things were getting worse. Natalie's job grew quickly. She got good reviews for her roles in Gypsy, West Side Story, and Splendor in the Grass. She even got a nod for an Oscar. Wagner's work did not keep up. He agreed that it made things tense. He said it wasn't the main reason they broke up. But Natalie's own words showed something different. In a secret book, she wrote about how stressed she was. Little fights seemed like big ones. She no longer knew how to talk to Wagner. They tried to work together on All the Fine Young Cannibals, but the movie didn't do well. Natalie's solo work kept getting better. Wagner thought he was being left behind. Things were going badly in their marriage. Some people thought Natalie broke up with her boyfriend because she was having an affair with Warren Beatty, who played her co-star in Splendor in the Grass. That wasn't the real reason though. The truth was not as good. Natalie's sister in a 2020 biography both let slip the shocking news that Natalie had caught Wagner in bed with their British maid. They had worked together for years with this man. Natalie knew that Wagner was gay and straight, but seeing it for real right before West Side Story started was too much for her. It hurt her. In June 1961, they said they were splitting up. The split was finalized in April 1962. They went their separate ways after that. When Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner split up in 1962, she fell deeply in love with her co-star Warren Beatty. Splendor in the Grass was just over, but their relationship didn't end when the camera stopped rolling. For about 2 years their partnership was both exciting and dangerous. Natalie once said it was a crash from beginning to end. Warren couldn't hold it in, she said, but Wagner never did. She also said she had the same amount of anger as Warren. For them, fighting all the time meant being honest. It was a mess. In the end, even Wagner said it almost drove him crazy. He took a plane to Europe to get away from everything. At the time, some people thought Natalie might have cheated on Wagner with Beatty. A writer named Mark Crowley and other close friends said that wasn't true. After the movie was over, not before the affair started. She was still going through a lot of mental storms at the time. Then 1966 came along. Her job seemed to be going well on paper, but she had a crack inside her. Our movie Penelope did not do well. She was too stressed to hide any longer, and she broke out in hives while they were shooting. In the end, she said that the director kept telling her she wasn't rolling even though she was in pain. She was fed up with it all. She did what no one could think of. She paid Warner Brothers $175,000, which is more than $1.5 million today, to get out of the deal. It wasn't just her managers and marketers that she fired. Everyone was gone. She quit Hollywood for good when she was only 28 years old. She was out of the public eye for 3 years after that. She wasn't looking for work. She wanted to get better. Therapy became very important to her. She had lost too much because of her fame. But she came back on her own terms in 1969. She picked the comedy Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice because it was brave to talk about taboo subjects like open marriage and wife switching. It worked and shocked people. The movie did well. In its first week it made $50,000. Natalie didn't take the flat pay, she took a chance. She turned down a $750,000 salary in favor of a share of the income. It paid off to take that risk. She made about $1 million, which is more than the normal deal would have paid her. Critics gave her praise. A lot of people showed up. It might have been her second big run. That wasn't what she wanted. She took a quiet step back again after only 4 more movies in 12 years. This time with family. Natalie got married to the British director Richard Gregson in May 1969. They had been seeing each other for 2 years. Robert Redford set them up and was even their best man. Natalie's life changed when their daughter Natasha was born a year later. She liked more than just being a mom. It made her happy. It took over her. Her goals changed all of a sudden. She took a break from her job to be with her child. She was only 31 years old. That would be terrible for most actors' careers. She didn't care though. Her friends said she was so happy, she was glowing. She laughed even more. She had more freedom. He felt pushed out though. Natalie had put everything she had into being a mom. There were cracks in the wall. Those cracks got very big in 1971. Natalie learned that Gregson was seeing her maid instead of her. She moved quickly. She kicked him out of the house and asked for a divorce. The deal was made public in April 1972. Then he went to England. After only 3 months, Natalie shocked everyone again. She married Robert Wagner again, even though they had been divorced 10 years before. It felt like going around in a circle. Natasha now had 2 dads because Wagner, they were known as Daddy Wagner and Daddy Gregson by her. There was a time when Gregson was not in Natasha's life because he lived far away. He died in 2019. After he died, she shared a cute picture of the two of them. Even though their marriage hadn't worked out, they were at peace. But Natalie's deeper wounds were caused a lot earlier. She was only 16 years old when her mother took her to the Chateau Marmont in the summer of 1955. Natalie was making the searchers as she tried to move up from child star to serious actress. She asked Maria, her mother, to help. But her idea of how to help was weird. That night she took Natalie inside to meet Kirk Douglas while leaving Lana Wood, 8, to sleep in the car. He was 39 years old, married and a big star already. In Lana's later autobiography, she writes that Maria thought that Douglas could help Natalie if he liked her. So she sent her daughter into his room by herself. It was meant to help her business. What did happen instead shattered my life. Natalie looked hurt when she got back to the car. Her clothes were a mess. Her skin was pale. She told her mom something important in a whisper that Lana couldn't hear. Things were very bad, but Lana didn't understand at the time. Natalie would always remember that night. After many years, she told Lana the truth. Nat said, "He hurt me." She was scared. Feeling lost and shocked, she thought the meeting was not real. For years she didn't tell anyone. Lana told everyone about it after she and Douglas were both dead. When asked what he thought, Michael Douglas only said, "May they both rest in peace." It got even worse when Natalie told her mother what had happened. Maria was very cold. She told him to suck it up. At that time it was Hollywood. Girls weren't kept safe, they were pushed. It wasn't about the truth, safety or fairness. It was about getting ahead in life. Katie didn't say anything because she had to. She was 16 years old. She knew that if she spoke out it could be the end of her job. As the lead in Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice 1969, she made the 6th most money of any movie that year. In its first week it made $50,000. It would have been easy for her to become even more famous after that, but she chose not to. Natalie chose to spend more time with her family in the early 1970s. She wanted a calmer life because she was expecting her daughter Natasha. She said, "Work isn't as important to me as it used to be." From 1970 on, she was only in a few movies, and she only did 4 more before she died. During the whole 1970s, she was only in 2 movies that were shown in theaters. But her ability never went away, even after she stopped being famous. Toy Story was made into a TV movie in 1979, and she won a Golden Globe for her role. They worked together again in 1972's The Candidate, where she had a small role. She lived a slower, more private life than she did in her younger years. However, her private life was not as calm. The star Robert Wagner had been married to her twice. The end of their first marriage came in 1961. There were rumors. Some people said she slept with Warren Beatty, who played her co-star in Splendor in the Grass. Some said she saw Wagner with someone else, but they got a divorce no matter what happened. But in 1972, they got back together. It looked like a happy finish at first glance. Wagner's work was really taking off. He made $10,000 an episode on It Takes a Thief, and he did even better with Heart to Heart, which ran from 1979 to 1984. But behind closed doors, things were not great. In their second marriage, they loved each other. But things were tense at times. The date was November 28, 1981. The holiday weekend that was meant to be peaceful turned into a Hollywood mystery that hasn't been solved yet. A 60-foot yacht called Splendor was docked near Catalina Island in California. 4 people were on board. Natalie Wood is an actor who is 43 years old and has been nominated for 3 Oscars. The man she was married to was 52 years old at the time. Actor Christopher Walken, who was 38 years old. Dennis Davern, who is in charge of the boat. Natalie and Robert had a fight 2 days ago. Robert planned to cross the island and move the boat to the other side. This made Natalie think it was too dangerous. It rained and the water was rough. That night, the 4 of them went to a nearby diner and drank a lot. They were so drunk that the boss of the restaurant called the harbor master to warn him about them. Around 10:30 p.m. they got back to the boat. Natalie put on her pajamas and socks. She made some tea in the main room and tried to calm down. Davern lit some candles. Natalie and Walken were laughing and talking when all of a sudden things changed. Robert lost it. He yelled at Walken, "What are you trying to do, fuck my wife?" and broke a wine bottle. After that, things became hard to understand. Robert said afterward that Walken stayed up after going to bed. Then he said he went to bed too, and that's when he found Natalie and the boat gone. But something didn't make sense. Natalie was afraid of dark water all her life. People who knew her well knew she would never get into a small boat by herself in the rain, at night, while wearing only socks and a nightgown. The captain told the police that Robert stopped him from calling for help. They didn't sound the warning for hours. Natalie might have died because of that weight. It was cold in the water. It's possible that hypothermia set in very quickly. It was already too late when the police were finally called. She was gone. In 2011, Wagner refused to talk to police, even though they tried to get in touch with him more than 10 times. Then I heard a voice in the dark. Ashore, 40 yards from Splendor, Marilyn Wayne and her boyfriend were sound asleep on their yacht, Capricorn. Around 11 p.m. they heard a woman yelling, "Help me, please help me. I'm going under." Over and over, it was heard by Marilyn's son too. They used a searchlight and called the jail and the harbor patrol. No one showed up for about 15 minutes. People screamed. Then a man with a slurred voice said, "Hold on, we're coming to get you." Then there was quiet. Marilyn saw cops near Splendor in the morning. That's when she found out Natalie had died in the water. The case was ended for many years. But it opened again in 2011. Captain Davern said he lied to the cops in 1981. He said that Natalie and Robert got into a fight before she vanished. That made everything different. The police followed up on more than 100 new leads. They went so far as to fly to Hawaii to look for the boat again. 2 more witnesses talked to the police. Both said they heard Natalie and Robert arguing loudly that night. That wasn't what Wagner said it was. Medicine facts made my questions stronger. In 2012, when the coroner looked into the case again, they made changes to her death record. It no longer said just drowning by accident. It now says drowning and other factors that haven't been identified. Natalie's skin was bruised, which made it look like she had been hurt before she went into the water. One detective told it like it was. She looked like she had been beaten up. After that, Robert Wagner was publicly named a person of interest in 2018. He was 87 years old. Police said he was the last person to see Natalie living. They couldn't show that it was murder. They also couldn't show it was an accident. That's what this scary secret is all about. It's been more than 40 years and we still don't know how Natalie Wood got into the water that night. There were only 4 people on that boat and only one of them knows what really happened.